What is up? Welcome back to another video. It is Monday, and as you know, that means it's the news day, and we have a lot to talk about. Now, before we get into it, I want to say thank you to everyone who wished me well last week. It worked. I feel much better. I think it was just like a over the weekend kind of bug. It really culminated in on Sunday when I recorded the news video, but it is now Monday of the next week, and I feel much better. So thank you very much. Got back from vacation, feeling refreshed, feeling reinvigorated, and not sunburnt. So 3 huge things right there. So we're going to get into the news, and because there's a lot, we're going to forego the intro for this week and just kind of get into the nitty gritty. But before we do that, a shout out to the channel members. Their lovely names are listed around me here. Remember, if you join the Bronco Buddies, not only do you get this wonderful shout out that's well planned and executed every week, you also get access to exclusive content, early access to other content, and of course the ability to vote on upcoming reviews. Now, the votes are in, and the result of that poll will be done by the end of this week, potentially next week, depending on how editing schedules go. And I will have a poll for next month's review video out soon. So if you're a member, make sure to go to the community tab and vote on that. Thank you very much for the members again. If you can't join, completely fine. Just like the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on news videos like this and the other content that I'm putting out. Notably, I just put out an OM4 review. I'm pretty happy with that, so feel free to check that out. I will link it up there. So now we have quite a lot to talk about. There's a lot of film news and a lot of camera news. One of the big things to really come out of the last couple of days was the update from Analogue Amsterdam in their AF-1 project. They posted some things on their social media that I encourage you to check out for more like specific updates. But they did also reach out to me and send me an email. As you may know, I've been kind of in contact with them here and there. And the co-founder of Analogue Amsterdam, Ralph, really nice guy, has been kind enough again to keep me in the loop. The updated roadmap puts the release of the camera in November of this year to December of this year. So basically working on it the rest of the summer and a later 2025 release. That could bleed into Q1 of 2026. We'll have to kind of see how that shakes out. But from the conversation we had, they were pretty hell-bent on getting it out this year, later this year. They have raised the price by about 35% up to 449.99 euros, so just short of 450 euros, which translates to this in freedom dollars, I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, those are pretty much the updates on the AF-1. Timeline adjustment, a little bit of a price increase. I'm still pretty excited about the project overall, and I encourage you to check out the social media posts they've made about it. I'll probably do a more in-depth review on just this because I do think it's interesting. And I think a lot of people have raised some concerns about it, which I think are fair. I don't know where the scam narrative really came out of, but to each their own. The Fuji X Half, which is a digital camera inspired by film, as put on the website here. And it is a very small little camera. It has an advance lever. It has a little film viewing window that I believe is actually like a little LCD that shows what film simulation you're shooting with. So Fuji's really playing in to that element of things. I don't know if you can add into the camera like you can with their other cameras, but this to me seems like a little bit more of a base model with a bit of a smaller sensor to kind of achieve the half frame vertical look. Yes, vertical look. And you have the wind lever, so you have to wind between each shot. So it kind of plays into, look, it's a film camera, but it's not a film camera kind of play. I think this is very funny because I believe it was last week I was talking about the Yashica FXD, which looks just terrible to me. I think the Yashica FXD, in contrast to the Fuji X Half here, or really any of the other Fuji cameras, but I feel like the X Half is really embracing the heritage of the film camera. In contrast, it is apples to like rotten apples, or like crab apples. Yes, apples to crab apples, okay? That's what we're looking at here. Like one is great and it just works, and maybe you can cut it up and make like an apple pie, you can make apple juice, you can make apple cider, you can do all sorts of stuff. Crab apples suck, and the only thing they're really good for is like making hard cider. And like you get the Yashica FXD and the only thing you can do with that is make a video on how bad it is. But you, like, unironically, I can't imagine people buying the Yashica FXD. Sometimes I make these comparisons. I think they're great. I think that's a very good apples to crab. Don't mind if I do. But anyway, this is just a very interesting camera for about $849, $850, $850. The main thing that I'm seeing is people are calling it a fun camera, a silly camera, things like this. And I would say that it definitely is, but it's a reasonable-ish price for what it is. There are some like unironic light leaks on the images, which I think is an effect that people add, which is really weird. And again, we're just getting into why do people shoot film. Some people really like shooting film because it's a fun thing to do. Some people really like the history and the art behind it, and other people like it for the vibes. This definitely falls into the vibe category. Look at all like we can recreate the film look, but with my digital camera, which makes it easier. And for that, that's definitely a market. Obviously, this product exists, so it is a market, and I think it's great for that. Might not be your cup of tea, probably not my cup of tea, but it is interesting nonetheless. Now we roll into another film camera that's actually not a film camera. It's a digital film camera, but this digital film camera might be single-handedly responsible somewhat for the death of film cameras, and that is, of course, the Ricoh GR4. Yes, the Ricoh GR4 is coming out sometime this year, is what they're kind of hoping for. If I was a better photographer, which I'm not a good photographer, then I might look into something like this because it's just a streamlined, pocketable camera that you can take with you everywhere. They're pretty unique in that regard. They also do video, I believe. But this new one, there was the GR, which released in 1999. That was a film camera. The GR2 and 3 are both digital. The 3 obviously is the most developed, and that's one of those cameras that has remained relatively sterling. The price has not dropped on them. So it'll be interesting to see how a new product introduced will affect the pricing of the older models. GR3 was released in 2019, so it'd be kind of interesting to see what a more modern version of that looks like in the GR4. A lot of the specs that they've released thus far kind of make it look like slight modifications to the lensing, slight modifications to the sensor. I believe the lens itself, both in focal length and aperture, are going to be roughly similar. So you're just going to be seeing some differences in the sensor, updates to image quality, and so on. There is also going to be a high diffusion filter version released, I think a little bit after the GR4 is. The camera is scheduled to be released in autumn of 2025, so just a few months away, with the high diffusion model to be released later in the year, around winter time, I suppose, which I guess winter is like November, December. November's still kind of an autumn month, I suppose. Autumn is a nebulous word. Anyway, that is another film camera. Link down below if you want to check out more information. We have a fourth and final camera, which is the Reto Pano 35mm camera. So next week I'll be talking about the new long weekend gear panoramic camera, and then the next weekend I'll be talking about the to be continued panoramic camera, and then next week I'll be talking about the Film Never Die panoramic camera with metal glued on the front. This is a new camera from Reto, which is a company that makes these things. I will level with you, not really my cup of tea, but the Reto products do fill a role. They fill a niche in the modern world. This is a very easy and affordable film camera for a lot of people, and for that I congratulate them. I do have to draw the line a little bit here because the panoramic cameras I thought was something that we collectively all kind of made fun of because it's not really panoramic. The panoramic cameras that exist are something like the X-Pan, the Fuji X-Pan, I don't know the name of it, Horizon, Russian camera, and then the Widelux camera. New Widelux coming soon. This is not the Widelux we were promised. This is the Reto Pano 35, the Widelux we have at home. Normal dimensions for film are 35 by 24 millimeters, thereabouts. The panoramic mode of this is 34 by 14.9 millimeters. Now, 14.9 is less than 24. 35 is the same as 35. So what you're doing is, instead of an image, you're getting an image. You're dropping crops onto the top and bottom, retailing for $34.99, which is a decent price. It looks like it has an auto wind with a manual rewind. If you want a simple camera with a 22mm lens, allegedly, and a flash, like this might be a good option for you. I would get it from Reto and not get it from any of the other companies that are going to slap their name on the Reto camera and then raise the price by a bunch. Moving on from that, we have a lot of film news. We have an update from the Optik Old School. They're going to be releasing the official update next week, but they confirmed that it's not re-spooled film, so that takes out my theory on error color. It's not Kodak, it's not Lucky, it's not Fuji, so that's all out of the way. It is new film, as they put it, which means that it looks like Orwo NC200 is going to also be released next week, as well as Ferrania's new color film will also be released next week, and Optik Old School's color 200 120 film is going to be released next week, or at least information is going to be released next week. I don't know when they're actually planning on rolling it out to sell it, but that's probably definitely what it is. They also made some mention to it is a German-based film, so most likely it is Filmotech-esque film. There is also new film from Reflx Labs. Our friends over there have got their hands on some Fuji F64 motion picture film, and they have re-spooled that. It is an ECN2 film, so bear that in mind. 36 exposures, $9.99 a roll, and the results look pretty all right. The can itself looks pretty cool, I gotta say, and it's pretty interesting to see. I don't think I've really seen a whole lot of like Fuji cinema film re-spooled, so very interested to see how that comes out. Definitely check that out if you are interested in some more kind of random stuff. Oh, and then Ilford Delta 3200. They just, I think, are releasing that in their bulk 100-foot spool for 35mm. So if you really like shooting fast black and white film but don't want to pay for each canister, you just want to like buy a big bulk and then self-load it, you can do that. That's pretty cool to see them release that. Also, we have Filmomat, I think also German company, who released the auto 35mm film scanner. They are showing off showed off their 120 film scanner at the Analogue Now Show, and apparently they are showing off other products as well, but they didn't really talk about it too much more than that. And for our final bit of news, we have an upcoming collaboration with Colorful Analog Cameras out of Lithuania. She was kind enough to send me a bunch of stuff, so I'll be opening this up in a little bit here, making a video about that, talking about it, so on and so forth. But I'm really excited about this. Check her out on the social medias if you haven't already done so. Really cool company, really good stuff, like really quality products, so definitely worth a look-see there. We still have stuff to talk about for Kodak financial stuff and Nikon financial stuff, and potentially Ricoh Pentax financial stuff. All of the Q2 financial assessments have been released, I believe, up to this point, and I would like to sink my teeth into that. I hope that you're cool with postponing the financial talks until next week, when hopefully we'll have updates on the Optik Old School film. But I think that's it for today's video. There's a lot to talk about. So quick rundown on this week's news. We have Analogue AF-1 with an update on its timeline, an update on pricing, an update on the camera itself. We have a new camera from Fuji, the X Half, which is really incorporating the analog film look and the analog film feel in a modern, albeit kind of gimmicky way, but still very accessible for people to get into. We have the Ricoh GR4 officially announced, kind of maybe potentially the culprit behind the ending of the Pentax film photography project, but it looks to be a pretty decent camera, next step in the evolution of the GR line. We have also the Reto Panoramic, not panoramic camera that is being released. Subsequent models with other names pasted on it will come out soon, and I can't wait to talk about those. We have an update from Optik Old School with their new 200 speed color film in 120 coming out. Most likely it's going to be a Filmotech-esque film, but they just confirmed it's not Fuji, Kodak, or lucky and it's not re-spooled. We also have a new product from Reflx Labs with Fuji cinema film recanned in 35mm, which is pretty exciting. Ilford 3200 is going to be released in a 100-foot bulk roll for 35mm, so you can roll your own film. There is potentially a new Filmomat 120 film carrier coming out soon, and Colorful Analog Cameras sent me some stuff that we'll be going through in a bit. A lot to talk about as usual. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Like the video if you enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on anything. I might be dropping more specific topic related videos that I want to sink my teeth into more, but as I've been recording for almost 30 minutes here, I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you again so very much, and I'll catch you on the next one.